Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Chapter 33. Maitreya Uvacha. Evam nishamya kapilasya vacho janitri sa kardamasya dayita kila devahutihi visrastamohapatala tamabhipranamya tushtavattatva siddhibhumim. Sri Maitreya said, Thus Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila and the wife of Kardama Muni, became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. She offered her obeisances unto the Lord, the author of the basic principles of the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is the background of liberation, and she satisfied him with the following verses of prayer. Devahutiruvacha atapyajontah salile shayanam bhutendriyartatmamayam vapuste gunapravaham sadashosha bijam dadhyau swayam yajjatarabdajajat गुणप्रवाहं सदशेषबीजं दद्यौ स्वयं यज्जठराब्जजातः. Devahuti said, Brahma is said to be unborn, because he takes birth from the lotus flower which grows from your abdomen while you lie in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. But even Brahma simply meditated upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universe. Saeva vishwasya bhavan vidhatte gunapravahena vibhakta viryaha sargadhyaniho vitatabhisandhi gatve Sargadyaniho vitatabhisandir atmeshvaro tarkya sahasrashaktihi. My dear Lord, although personally you have nothing to do, you have distributed your energies in the interactions of the material modes of nature, and for that reason the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation take place. My dear Lord, you are self-determined and are the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities. For them, you created this material manifestation, and although you are one, your diverse energies can act multifariously. This is inconceivable to us. Sattvam bhruto me jatarena natha katam nu yasyodhara etadasit vishvam gunante vatapatra ekaha shete sma maya shishuranghripanaha. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have taken birth from my abdomen. O my Lord, how is that possible for that Supreme One who has his belly as the cosmic manifestation? The answer is that it is possible, for at the end of the millennium, you lie down on a leaf of a banyan tree, and just like a small baby, you lick the toe of your lotus foot. Swam deha tantra पशमाय पाप्मनां निदेशभाजां च विभो विभूतये यतावतारास्तव सूकराधयस्ततायमप्यात्मपतोपलब्धते ततायमाप्यात्मपतोपलब्धये. My dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge in devotion and liberation. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction, by your own will you assume incarnations as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents. यन्नामधेयश्रवणानुकीर्तनाद् यत्प्रह्वणाध्यात्स्मरणादपि क्वचित् श्वादोऽपि सद्यः सवनाय कल्पते कृतः पुनस्ते भगवन्नुदर्शनात्. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Aho bata shwapachotaso Aho bata shwapachoto gari gariyan yen yajjihvagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhuvu sasnugarya brahmanuchurnama grunanti yete. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. Tam tvamaham brahma param pumamsam pratyaksrotasyatmani samvibhavyam swatejasadhvastagunapravaham vande vishnum kapilam vedagarbham. I believe, my Lord, that you are Lord Vishnu himself under the name of Kapila, and you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. The saints and the sages, being freed from all the disturbances of the senses and mind, meditate upon you, for by your mercy only can one become free from the clutches of the three modes of material nature. At the time of dissolution, all the Vedas are sustained in you only. Maitreya uvacha idito bhagavanevam kapilakyah parah puman vacha viklavayetyaha mataram matruvatsalaha. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila, satisfied by the words of his mother, towards whom he was very affectionate, replied with gravity. Kapila uvacha sargenanena mataste susevyo noditena me astitena param kashtam achiradavarotshyasi. The Personality of Godhead said, My dear mother, the path of self-realization, which I have already instructed to you, is very easy. You can execute this system without difficulty, and by following it, You shall very soon be liberated even within your present body. श्रद्धत्स्वै तन्मतं मह्यं जुष्टं यद्ब्रह्मवादिभिः येन मामभयं याय मृत्युभृच्छन्त्यतद्विदः. My dear mother, those who are actually transcendentalists certainly follow my instructions as I have given them to you. You may rest assured that if you traverse this path of self realization perfectly, surely you shall be freed from fearful material contamination and shall ultimately reach me. Mother, persons who are not conversant with this method of devotional service certainly cannot get out of the cycle of birth and death. Maitreya uvacha iti pradarshya Bhagavan satim tamatmano gatim swamatra brahmavadinya kapilo numato yayau. Sri Maitreya said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila, after instructing his beloved mother, took permission from her and left his home, his mission having been fulfilled. Sa chapi tanayoktena yogadeshena yogayuk tasmin ashrama apide sarasvatya samahita. As instructed by her son, Devahuti also began to practice Bhakti Yoga in that very ashrama. She practiced Samadhi in the house of Kardama Muni, which was so beautifully decorated with flowers that it was considered the flower crown of the river Saraswati. Abhikshnavaga Abhikshnavagaha Kapishan Jatilan Kutilalakan Atmanam Chogratapasa Bhibrati Chirinam Krusham. She began to bathe 3 times a day, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey. Due to austerity, her body gradually became thin, and she wore old garments. Prajapate Kardamasya Tapo Yoga Vijrumbhitam Swargahastyamanopamyam Partham Vaimani. The home and household paraphernalia of Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis, was developed in such a way by dint of his mystic powers of austerity and yoga that his opulence was sometimes envied by those who travel in outer space in airplanes. Payaf pena nibha shayya danta rukma parichadaha asanani cha haimani susparshastaranani cha. The opulence of household Kardama Muni is described herein. The bed sheets and the mattresses were all as white as foam of milk. The chairs and benches were made of ivory and were covered by cloths of lace with golden filigree, and the couches were made of gold and had very soft pillows. Swachaspatika kudyeshu Mahamarakateshu cha Ratna Pradipa Abhanti Lalana Ratna Samyutaha. The walls of the house were made of first-class marble, decorated with valuable jewels. There was no need of light, for the household was illuminated by the rays of these jewels. The female members of the household were all amply decorated with jewelry. गृहोद्यानं कुसुमितै रम्यं बह्वमराद्युमैः गृह्योद्यानं कुसुमितै रम्यं बह्वमरद्रुमैः कूजद्विहङ्गमिथुनं या गायन्मत्तमधुव्रतम्. The compound of the main household was surrounded by beautiful gardens with sweet, fragrant flowers and many trees which produced fresh fruits and were tall and beautiful. The attraction of such gardens was that singing birds would sit on the trees, and their chanting voices, as well as humming sound of the bees, made the whole atmosphere as pleasing as possible. यत्र प्रविष्टमात्मानं विबुधानुचरा जगुः वाप्यामुत्पलगन्धिन्यां कर्दमेनोपलालितम्. When Devahuti would enter that lovely garden to take their bath in the pond filled with the lotus flowers, the associates of the denizens of the heaven, the Gandharvas, would sing about Kardama's glorious household life. Her great husband, Kardama, gave her all protection at all times. Hitva tadipsitatamam apyakandalayoshitam kinchitchakaravadhanam putravishleshanatura. Although her position was unique from all points of view, saintly Devahuti, in spite of her possessions, which were envied even by the ladies of the heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her great son was separated from her. Vanam pravrajite pratyavapatya virahatura jnana tattvapya bhunnashte vatse gauriva vatsala. Devahuti's husband had already left home and accepted the renounced order of life, and then her only son, Kapila, left home. Although she knew all the truths of life and death, although her heart was cleansed of all dirt, she was very aggrieved at the loss of her son, just as a cow is affected when her calf dies. Tameva dhyayati devam apatyam kapilam harim babhuva chirato vatsa nispruha tadrushe gruhe. O Vidura, thus always meditating upon her son, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Deva, she very soon became unattached to her nicely decorated home. Dhyayati Bhagavadrupam Yadahadyanagocharam Sutah Prasannavadanam Samastavyastachintaya. Thereafter, having heard with great eagerness and in all detail from her son, Kapila Deva, eternally smiling personality of Godhead, Devahuti began to meditate constantly upon the Vishnu form of the Supreme Lord. Bhakti pravaha yogena vairagyena baliyasa yuktanushtana jatena jnanena brahmahetuna vishuddhena tadatmanam atmana vishvato mukham svanubhutya tirobhutam aya gunavisheshanam. She did so with serious engagement in devotional service. Because she was strong in renunciation, she accepted only the necessities of the body. She became situated in knowledge due to the realization of the absolute truth. Her heart became purified. She became fully absorbed in the meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all misgivings due to the modes of material nature disappeared. ब्रह्मण्यवस्थितमतिर्भगवत्यात्मसंश्रये निवृत्तजीवापत्तित्वात् क्षीणक्लेशाप्तनिर्वृतिः. Her mind became completely engaged in the Supreme Lord, and she automatically realized the knowledge of the impersonal Brahman. As the Brahman realized soul, she was freed from the designations of the materialistic concept of life. Thus, all material pangs disappeared, and she attained transcendental bliss. नित्यारूढसमाधित्वात् परावृत्तगुणभ्रमा न सस्मार तदात्मानं स्वप्ने द्रष्टमिवोत्थितः. Situated in eternal trance and freed from illusion, impelled by the modes of material nature, she forgot her material body, just as one forgets his different bodies in a dream. Tadreha paratah posho'pyakrushschadya sambhavat babhau malairavatchannaha sadhuma iva pavakaha. Her body was being taken care by the spiritual damsels created by her husband Kardama, and since she had no mental anxiety at that time, her body did not become thin. She appeared just like fire surrounded by smoke. Swangam tapo yogamayam muktakesham gatambharam daiva guptam na bubudhe vasudeva pravishtadihi. Because she was always absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she was not aware that her hair was sometimes loosened or her garments were disarrayed. Yevam sa kapiloktena margena chiratah param atmanam brahma nirvinnam bhagavantamavapaha. My dear Vidura, by following the principles instructed by Kapila, Devahuti soon became liberated from material bondage, and she achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Supersoul without difficulty. Tadvirasit punyatamam kshetram trailokya vishrutam namna siddhapadam yatra sasam siddhimupeyushi. The palace where Devahuti achieved her perfection, my dear Vidura, is understood to be most sacred spot. It is known all over the three worlds as Siddhapada. Tasyastadhyoga vidrutam artam martyamabhut sarita stotasam pravara saumya siddhaya siddhidha siddhasevita. Dear Vidura, the material elements of her body have melted into water and are now a flowing river, which is the most sacred of the rivers. Anyone who bathes in that water attains perfection, and therefore all persons who desire perfection go bathe there. Kapilopi mahayogi भगवान् पितुराश्रमात् मातरं समनुज्ञाप्य प्रागृदीचीं दिशं ययौ. My dear Vidura, the great sage Kapila, the personality of Godhead, left his father's hermitage with the permission of his mother and went towards the northeast. सिद्धचारणगन्धर्वैर् मुनिभिश्चाप्सरोगणैः स्तूयमानः समुद्रेण दत्तार्हणनिकेतनः. While he was passing in the northern direction, all the celestial denizens, known as Charanas and Gandharvas, as well as Munis and the damsels of the heavenly planets, prayed and offered him all respects. The ocean offered him oblations and a place of residence. Aste yogam samasthaya सांख्याचार्यैरभिष्टुतः त्रयाणामपि लोकानाम् उपशान्त्यै samahitah. Even now, Kapila Muni is staying there in trance for the deliverance of the conditioned souls in the three worlds, and all the acharyas or great sacrifices of the system of Sankhya philosophy are worshipping him. Ye tannigaditam tata yatprushtoham tavanagha kapilasya cha samvado devahutyascha pavanaha. My dear son, since you have inquired from me, I have answered. O sinless one, the descriptions of Kapila Deva and his mother and their activities are purest of all pure discourses. Sayadam ya idamanushrunoti yobhidatte Kapila muner matamatma yoga guhyam bhagavati krutadihi suparnaketa vupalabhate bhagavat padaravindam. The description of the dealings of Kapila Deva and his mother is very confidential, and anyone who hears or reads this narration becomes a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is carried by Garuda, and he therefore enters into the abode of the Supreme Lord to engage in transcendental, loving service of the Lord. Matrugaya is still there even today in Gujarat. I had the fortune to go see Kapila Ashramam. I had the fortune to go for Ganga Sagar, which is where Kapila is still supposed to be there. All thanks to Krishna. Thus ends the chapter entitled Activities of Kapila, and thus ends the third Skandam of Shrimad Bhaghavatam. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.